Hey up! Someone's beaming. What's that big grinning aid of? Oh, you've been inspired, have you? Inspired to do what, may I ask? Oh, got back into writing, have you? Picked up an old passion? Oh, just came out of nowhere, did it? Like lightning from a clear blue sky? Wonderful feeling, isn't it, when the Muse descends? Where once the well were dry, suddenly the waters pour forth unbidden. Speaking of pouring forth, you having an house special? There you go. Drink up. Here. You like music, don't you? We're just changing up some of the discs in the Dukey. Yeah, I know. Should really update to one of them digital ones. But they just ain't the same, you know what I mean? Anyway, came across these. You ever heard of Nero's Fiddle? No. Oh, likely before your time. Britpop band. Massive in the mid-90s. Toured around with the likes of Pulp and Elastica. Oh, and them other two who were always having that chart feud. Name escapes me. Anyway, the frontman and founding member of Nero's Fiddle were a local lad, Chris Townsend. This here was their first album. Used to play here before they got big. At the time he were doing his A-levels. The band was somewhat of a, weekend garage project, so to speak. I remember him chucking me this here CD. He said, "Here, might be worth something after I'm famous." You were always a cocksure lad, were Chris. That faded bit of felt tip there, that's his signature. To be honest, never thought they'd make it. They weren't all that really. Your typical pub band. Everything about them were a bit average. Name weren't that catchy either in hindsight. I asked him once, "Why the bloody hell do you call yourselves Nero's Fiddle?" He said to me, "Nero were unappreciated in his own time, bit like us." Don't reckon Roman history were his strong suit. Fat Nero were a bloody psychopath seemed to have escaped his notice. Anyway, average as they seemed at first in their infancy, that were all to change. Here, looks like you're running empty. Slide as your glass, I'll top you up. There. Get your laughing gear around that. Now, in April 1994, Chris went on a college history trip to County Sligo to visit some of the ancient Irish sites. The last stop on the tour took place on Tuesday the 5th, the Torrent Well. That's when everything changed. I don't know if it were the well's natural beauty or the fact that Chris were by this point getting a bit weary of his fellow classmates, but he would later relate to me that he'd felt an overbearing urge to wander off for a bit of alone time. Found a nice quiet spot on a small stone bridge spanning a fast-flowing stream, sat down, hung his legs over edge and stared down at the rushing water, lost in thought. That's when he spied her. She was stood in the middle of the stream, filling a water bottle. Her jeans itched up to her knees. Bit of an odd thing to do, he thought, but paid it no mind and carried on gazing down at the water. Next thing he knew, she was sitting beside him, offering him a swig from her water bottle. "Me name's Liana Shae," she said. "What's yours?" He took the bottle from her, had a big long swig. "Chris. My name's Chris." And so began a whirlwind romance. Well, an half-hour romance. Weren't long before he heard his tutor shouting for everyone get back on coach. But brief as his encounter with Liana were, it stuck with him. Whilst on the coach, he felt this wave of melancholy wash over him. Couldn't get her out of his head. Every tree, every cloud seemed to take on her visage. Then something strange happened. He began to hum. Didn't realise he were doing it at first, until one of the lads on the back seat shouted, "Here, Chris, what's that you're humming?" Expecting to be told to shut up, he just shrugged. To his surprise, the youth shot back, "Here, good that, well catchy. You want to write that down, mate?" Encouraged, he pulled out an exercise book from his bag and hastily started to scroll the tune down. Words, harmony, melody, it all seemed to materialise right in front of him. As he put it, it were like the arrangements appeared before his very eyes, to be plucked like fruit and put on the page. Before he knew it, he'd filled the entire A4 book. Now, not long after he got back, he turned up at open mic night. I remember me and Ali looking at each other, saying, "Here we go, more dirge." They took to the stage and Chris introduced the first song. I call this one Liana Shae. Well, blow me down if I weren't surprised at what issued forth from them speakers. The music, the lyrics, the vocals, all of it, tight. Tight as a whistler's arse in a windstorm. They got everyone on their feet, put it that way. Now, by some strange coincidence, and unbeknownst to me at the time, there were an agent from a record label in that very night. I know, odd how these things happen, innit it? Anyway, no sooner had the lad stepped off stage than this bloke had him gathered around his table, getting him to sign on the dotted line. All moved pretty swiftly from there on. A meteoric rise, you might say. But something had become very apparent. The band were changing, and not for the better. Some of their antics would have been enough to make Keith Moon blanch. At least that's if you believe the tabloids. It were around this time the band seemed to gain a new member. At first she were pretty much in the background, but as time went on and the band's fame grew, she became more and more noticeable, appearing on album sleeves, in photo shoots, and even on televised interviews. The girl Chris had met in Sligo. Always there, right by his side, always with this euphoric looking expression. She were gorgeous, don't get me wrong, kind of a cross between Kate Bush and Stevie Nicks, but there was something just a little bit off kilter about her. Like she didn't fit in, you know, almost as if she were slightly askew from reality. Like when you cut and paste something into a picture that weren't there before. Strangest thing though, as the years went on, Chris seemed to age at an alarming rate. Of course, many put this down to chronic drug dependency. But if I'm honest, I'd never have had Chris down for that. Stranger still, the more decrepit and wasted he became, the more youthful and vigorous she started to appear. Then it all came to an end on Chris's 27th birthday. We were all shocked. Local lad flying high. I reckon none of us wanted to see him come down. Signs were there, of course, but no one were looking. But that's the thing about fame. It masks the human that lies beneath the facade. In time, all you see is the legend, the myth. It should have been obvious, especially when you consider the radio interview he gave scant hours before he were found. I can tell by that glint in your eye you fancy a listen. Well, just so happens I have a recording of it. Convenient, eh? Hold on. I'll stick it on the player for you. It's 9 PM and you're listening to Music Talk on 92.1 FM. I'm your host, Darren Dudley, the big DD in the city. And on tonight's show, to talk about his upcoming album, we got Chris Townsend of Nero's Fiddle. How's it going, Chris? Yeah, alright, mate. Little birdie told me it's your birthday today. 27, getting ever close to that big 3-0. Yeah, if I get that far. Sure you will, Chris, sure you will. So, Chris, I've got a question. Now, for those listeners not in the know, came to light earlier today that Nero's Fiddle have broken up. Why is that, Chris? Why is that? Well, we had a good run, didn't we? 9 years thereabout. Don't make much sense though, Chris. New album ain't even out yet. Like, it just don't compute, mate. It don't compute. What can I say? Near a decade on the road. You get sick of people, they get sick of you. You cut your losses, work out the details later. Still though, Chris, look, you brought us on here to talk about the new album, so you want to do your job. Alright. So, the new album don't have a title yet? No. Why's that? Dunno really. Bounced around a few ideas, none of them quite stuck. Keeps the label on their toes though. Bunch of useless suits. Right, okay. So listeners, I've had the pleasure of listening to a few of the new tracks. Gotta say, Chris, I think this might be the best album yet. That's what everyone says. I mean, the songwriting on display here, Chris. Mwah! Beautiful. It's all killer, no filler. How'd you do it? You on crack? It's shite, mate. I can't write for toffee. I just put words out of thin air and see what sticks. But, Chris, your music, some of the most profound and meaningful in the business. Yeah, 'cause it's all bollocks. Folks just project what they want onto it, then write bullshit articles on this means X, Y and Z. Now I'm sitting there at home eating me beans on toast, giggling me tits off. I just fumble together a collection of words, chords and melodies. Just so happens it sounds alright. None of it comes from me. I'll be noodling around with my guitar, and shit'll just come. So I stick it down on paper. Half the time, I don't even know what I'm singing. All just blends into one. How's that for a peek behind the curtain for you? Sounds like latent genius, Chris. Latent genius. Or madness. Madness. Good band that, Chris, good band. So, what are your plans for your birthday, Chris? Wild party or quiet one in with Liana? Reckon it's gonna be a wild party, seeing as Liana's fucked off. Sorry to hear that, Chris. Nor am either. These things happen. Woke up, she were gone. Rang her to see where she was. Kept getting number not in use. Whatever. Good luck to her. Well, at least you got a nice party to go to. Anyone famous on the guest list? Aye. Kurt, Jim, Mark, Janice, Hendrix, all the greats. Chris, you are a card. Love me a bit of Hendrix, love it. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. Pleasure. The as yet untitled album will be out on April 5th. They found him 2 days later, dead on the floor of an hotel bathroom. surrounded by papers with the words, "What an artist dies in me," scrawled on them. The cause of death were never determined. It's as if he just ceased to carry on. As for Liana Shae, she were never seen again. It's almost as if she were never there at all. So if the Muse blesses you with her presence, make the most of it. For inspiration can be fleeting. Grab it with both hands. Just make sure you don't burn yourself out holding on to it. So you having another? Ah, well. Good luck with your writing. If it becomes a bestseller, make sure to send me a copy, eh? Have a good one. I'll be seeing you.